This is the last week to take advantage of the massive 40% off sale on the EdgeFinder. And don't wait any longer because this is the lowest price that it'll be all year. The EdgeFinder is a revolutionary trading software that combines fundamentals and technical trading all in one to help you find better trading entries. This is the same software that all of our expert traders use while scanning the markets. As we strive to make the EdgeFinder the best trading tool of all time by updating and upgrading it regularly, you'll never have to worry about paying for anything because the EdgeFinder is a one-time payment for life. So what are you waiting for? Get it at the lowest price of the year before it's too late. To get access to the 40% off discount, make sure you use promo code A1YT at checkout. If you have any questions about the product or sale, click the chat with us link down in the description below to automatically get connected with one of our team members right now. Remember, promo code A1YT for a huge 40% off discount on the EdgeFinder ending very soon.
We'll bring him into some. Okay, he's good. Bring him in here, Mr. Ivan.
Hey, Ivan.
Hey, Ivan. How's it going?
I'm doing well, and you?
Good. Hey, we've got the trio here. There's three of us in the building. I don't even know how this is going to work, but we're going to figure it out together. It's going to be fun. Ivan, Frank and I were just talking a little about gold. Do you have an opinion on the gold market right now?
Nah, not really. I'm too dived into New Zealand's short at the moment.
Okay, good, because we were looking for a topic change anyways. So tell us about this New Zealand. If you want to share your screen, we can switch over to your view. I'd be curious to. So you're thinking NZD dollar, NZD. I know you were trading NZD CAD last week. What are you looking at specifically?
Oh, it's Euro New Zealand. Anything New Zealand that can be shorted goes a long way. So I bought 150, 175. 1.755 and 176.5 last week, and I'm waiting for it to come back down to 178 or 177.5, and it hasn't happened yet, but it's just going higher and higher and higher.
Okay. So, sorry, did you say that you're already in a long trade right now?
Yeah, bought there, and hoping for a buy there.
Wow, look at you. That's fantastic. So you're looking to actively add to this trade as long as it lasts. That's fantastic. Awesome. So tell us about the initial entry. What got you into it at first?
Oh, seasonality.
Okay.
And bullishness, technical bullishness, and seasonality. And I can't explain why. And then what happened was that CPI came out lower than expected, so it made New Zealand go lower.
I know we had some NZD. Yeah, what were you saying,
to your
Frank?
point though, to your bullish thesis, the past couple of weeks smart money has been on top of euro. This week was actually a decline, but for a while they've been. That's like one of our most bullish assets on the EdgeFinder right now too.
Yeah, I wanted to show something to Ivan's point about seasonality. When looking at we're looking at the Euro New Zealand, which is what Ivan is trading. And Ivan, that's a fantastic trade, by the way. If you're 3 trades added in, those are like storytelling trades for me. So it's rare for me to get that many ads. So that's awesome. To Ivan's point about seasonality, we're looking specifically at the pair that he's trading. So Euro NZD. We're in the month of April, and we're coming into what seems to be the strongest part of the year, the summer months, April, May, June, for Euro New Zealand. So really cool to see that. And again, to Frank's point also, if we go look at that, the smart money tracker, take a look at COT. Also very interesting because you've got that euro very, very long. Now, Ivan, is it specifically the euro that you're bullish on, or is it more so New Zealand that you're bearish on?
It's a good combination of both. It's 100% New Zealand weakness, and then euro is now growing interest in the bullishness, and fundamentally is higher. So why not take advantage of both?
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a good point. So what else are you guys looking at? Ivan, what's any other trades that you're looking at, or are you solely focused Euro NZD right now?
Oh, I have a boatload. If I can speak about selling New Zealand CAD last week, which I posted in the Discord, at 80.8337, and then I bought Australian dollar at good question, Ivan. Probably around 107, no, 108, 20 something. So I'm just waiting for this one to continue higher, basically.
Cool. We had a donation in the chat. Let me make sure I don't miss this, and we can put this. Safa in the chat. Hi guys, long time, didn't have a chance to watch your stream. You seem to have lost a bit of weight. I wonder who you're talking about. Are you talking about me, Ivan, or Frank? Because it could be taken as an insult or a compliment, depending on who you ask. You never know. I'm kidding. Thank you for whoever you're talking about. I know you mean well. What do you guys think about Aussie, New Zealand, and do you have any short ideas? That is one for you, Ivan, because again, you're looking at you're our NZD guy today. What's your thoughts on Aussie, New Zealand?
Actually, he's actually onto something. We have hit some targets. It has really gone really fast up to monthly target, weekly target. So I am very scared about continue buying this one. But if it can come down to like 1st of May, then I will buy it again. So if you can get a brand new lower low below here and then come back up at resistance, I believe that is a great sell opportunity. Very aggressive, by the way, the first one, and then new lower low, and then the pullback, or probably the best one. But it's a counter trend. So if that's part of your strategy, then sure. But I'm not going to short it.
Fair enough. I wanted to move now to a topic that's kind of an interesting market real quick. We have oil. And it did some interesting stuff because oil jumped on supply shrinking. We had some news from the Saudis who were saying, shrink in supply. It rallied higher for a little bit, and then we had some sort of hawkish tones from the Federal Reserve. Now seems to have come close to almost filling that gap entirely that we had looking left. Frank, I know you were looking at oil a little bit. Do you have any thoughts currently on the oil market? Do you have any bullish, bearish cases for us?
It was because of the OPEC meetings when they said they were cutting production. This was a couple of weeks back. And the supply shortage now is also something to look into. But I was buying into this dip, and I took a couple losses on it. So I've just been waiting on more of a confirmation, because every time I see what looks like something that's bullish, it'll just come all the way back or it'll sink lower. So at this point, I was kind of waiting for it to fill that gap and actually hit some level, and also see what smart money was up to this week. Like that was one of my main drivers, and they're semi-mixed right now on the week. They're both increasing in long and short, so it's nothing like too promising on that end. But yeah, just I've been looking at commodities, and it's been tricky trading it. So I'm looking at something. I'm gonna look for something that's more like of a confirmation.
Sure. And I want to add to your concept there. You just mentioned tracking what big money is doing, just specifically with oil. We have it's actually right now proportionally the biggest long asset on the list of things that we track on the COT data, and a whopping 322,000 long contracts. Now, they did add to a short position slightly this past week, but they also added, and actually 4 times more, they added to a long position. So despite that, and I find that very, very interesting, Frank, because you had a shrink on the oil price. You had price come back and look to fill that gap. It seems like the market, from a technical analysis perspective, wants to fill it. But despite that, institutional money is very, very long. So I thought that was really interesting. Ivan, you look like you have something to say on oil. What's your take on oil right now? Yes,
Frank,
in the audience here.
Yeah, Frank, you should ask Chandler for my phone number. I would have called you, so should have called me, so you wouldn't have bought that one.
Definitely should have. I needed your advice there.
Yeah. Now the thing is that what I see when I gap on oil is that they generally do rise. Sorry, I'm just going to make it a bit less messy. But they normally come back lower. We can go through the Saudi Arabia attack. It can go through the Soleimani attack. When you have news that is very bullish, generally what tends to happen, they hit target and then people get out. So I'm not telling you to, oh, well, you did something wrong here, but I really want you to investigate what happens when you have news that is not priced into specifically oil, and what generally tends to happen. And what I generally have seen is that we do jump, we may go a bit higher, and then we fall. And when we start falling and break lower lows, we go way below what the initial starting point was. So currently, I would say it's bearish, and it will continue to fall, mostly because we have exhausted the bullishness and people have taken profit. But I want you to look into that.
No, I got you. What would like confirm that maybe this is back into a bullish scenario? Like, what would you look for if price continues to fall?
I hope you ask the other question. What would lead this one to continue to rise? That would be a continuation of the news. If there's more rate cuts or more production cuts, that would increase the price continuously. But until there's no more news, then it will continue to fall. And where is the bottom? Until it reverses bullishly. It can take some time, by the way.
Sure.
Okay, because that was quite a gap from just like the one news event that we saw. So it was definitely a profit taking point, but it looked like a lot of momentum, I guess. So it was,
Don't be fooled.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to take over the stream here for a second. Ivan, Chandler, can you give us a breaking news slideshow real quick? Let's see if Chandler, how fast he can do it. There's your breaking news, guys, because the S&P just opened up stronger. Jason in the chat just let us know. Really cool, Chandler, you got that. The S&P trade that I'm in is starting out okay today. Had a tough week last week, just chopped around for a while. I've still got my stop loss in place, and I wanted to just come back and talk about the open here for New York session, of course. Getting going here. It's about 30 minutes into the trading day. For those of you who are watching indices, and I want to go to you guys in just a second about this, the NASDAQ starts out, pops kind of both directions. The US 30 or the Dow is up here today, and you've got the S&P 500 up today. I'd be curious to hear each of you guys' thoughts on the indices right now. We talked a little about currencies. We talked about commodities here this morning. We talked about gold. You guys have any thoughts on indices as we get into the day? Frank, what do you think?
I mean, when it comes to the resiliency of the market, it's either trending upward or it's having harsh sell-offs, or it's going the opposite direction. Like it's always like, if there's not lots of news coming out, it's just going to be trending in that upward direction. And right now it looks like they're buying into later this week's news about GDP, unemployment claims, and even though they forecast something lower than like last month or last quarter or last week, if it's any kind of beat in these expectations, it's interpreted as bullishness, which I'm not really going to say is necessarily right or wrong, but it's just the way the market has been carrying the S&P at least.
Yeah, and to your point about, resiliency, strong, some mixed earnings, but in my opinion, Frank, the bear case for a while here has been that earnings are going to have a terrible recession. They're going to be awful, and they still might. But where is it? It's not happening nearly as much as so many of the Wall Street bears have been calling for. They've been calling for just absolutely horrendous numbers, and that's what's going to take the market down. Hasn't really showed up. And in as an active trader, I'm looking at what's in front of me, and to me, neutral or mixed earnings, in my opinion, is still bullish because it lacks what you need to drive the stock market, which has been very resilient, down further and even close to back to lows. We'll see how that forms. I just want to also make a point from a technical standpoint here this morning. Several green hours here in a row forming, just showing a lot of strength here. And as we break through this level here, which was a barrier for us last week tremendously, notably for those of you looking at SPX500, we're talking 41.35, held several times as we chopped around last week. We just broke through that on the open. This is a 1 hour bar, so this is our first hour of the trading week with the New York session getting started here. Broke above that I would say if we can hold above that, it's starting out like a good solid Monday morning for the S&P. We'll see if that can hold. What do you think on the indices? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, also what my thoughts is generally is that what we tend to have done is we have priced in Fed and or FOMC, and I don't know how to explain it, but I've just seen when I go through what was the past 3 weeks before FOMC, there's always a bullish trend, and then we kind of go into some kind of randomness before we then hit FOMC again. So that's like, is it behavioral finance that I'm talking about? Like, this is what they do before, and then when Fed comes out, then we're going to react to what they're actually going to do. So to be honest, I feel like we have ended the uptrend, and we are just going into like, well, is FOMC 1.5 week? We are just going to wait until whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see that the market is still staying relatively strong, despite basically the market completely expecting 25 basis points. I guess that from there, the question will be, will there be further rate hikes? And that's sort of way more up for debate and up for things. But again, like the Fed, I think most people are just going to have to wait for data to confirm or deny whether or not another rate hike is in the cards. But for now, again, pretty strong start to the week. We'll see if that can hold for those watching the indices as well. We talked a little bit about gold. I don't know if we talked a little bit about gold here this past week, but I also want to talk about the dollar. Here's DXY. Chart is down, breaking through a support level that was super stubborn this past week. We saw this just could not get out of this range last week. It was like the most boring rain-bound market ever. Though economic data was not super boring. We had PMI numbers come out really strong for the US, which created this terrifying candle that basically just said hello to both sides of the range before doing absolutely nothing. What do you guys think on the dollar with everything going on? Maybe Frank, what do you think about the dollar?
So like initially, any kind of economic news that would come out seemed like it would be bullish for the dollar, and its initial reaction was bullish. But I think what's happening, like to Ivan's point, is that the markets are pricing in, like they're already looking at a 2% inflation rate. They're looking at maybe one more hike or two more hikes this year or something. Nothing crazy, like no like 50 basis points, 75 basis points. They're kind of just pricing in what's to come, and the market is still not, in my opinion, hasn't completed its move to the upside. Regardless of how crazy it swings, it keeps trending up. I think we're like 8% on the year or something like that in terms of gains, and the dollar has just been in a steep decline since. So right now, every pop up to the upside on the dollar just looks like another short setup, even though I feel strength, or I see strength in the dollar, but until I don't know if the market has looked past this already and are just getting more aggressive in the risk on environment.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would note about the dollar is like it seems like it's just in such a momentum. It's such a momentumous thing right now with such a polarized Federal Reserve positioning. Like right now, if you take a look at this is the daily chart on the longer term span. It's just like clear as day upside. And Ivan, you and I were here commenting on this tremendously. We were just like dollar bulls for like a year straight on the stream. It was like not necessarily an easy trade because during this time, my stock portfolio was not looking so pretty, but the Forex side was pretty nice because you had, the dollar just floating higher. It seems like it's one of those things where when it trends very well, it trends very, very well. And this year has been the exact opposite from last year where, again, the dollar has just been weak and staying weak. And I think that for me, and you guys feel free to disagree, take your own takes. But for me, like when the dollar is trending up, it's just something I don't want to fight. When the dollar is trending down, though, it's also not something I want to fight. It's not, trying to like call the bottom of this is a really painful trade. And in fact, I would rather just be trying to ride along with things that go against it, like gold and as I've been buying indices, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Somebody in the chat just said that we just had a heckler come in saying that there was no live trading. We were literally talking about trades and things that we are in ourselves and making call outs. So we're wrong sometimes. So, if you're looking for somebody to be right all the time, wrong stream, you can keep clicking. But anyways, yeah. But what's your take on the dollar, Ivan? I know we've got May meeting coming up. That's going to be interesting. Are you sort of in the same camp, like momentum to the downside, or do you think that there's upside for the dollar?
I think like where are we heading? What is the grand theme? The grand theme is that CPI inflation is tickling lower. We have seen a banking crisis, and I see newsletters coming out today like basically over again, because we have seen, because what was the problem with the banks was that people took out their money, and that's how banks make money, and now that's kind of stopped. So that crisis and that thing is gone for at least for a moment. But the grand scheme of things, we are reducing our inflation slowly, and that should slowly send dollar downwards. That's at least the outlook. But there can be like a rally higher for a month or whatever in May, for that matter. But currently, overall, long term, it is bearish because of CPI, and now we're not going to have any Fed members speaking for 1.5 weeks, so we are definitely going to be dependent on data this week.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EdgeFinder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.